God for always giving us another chance. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. We say wrong things. We do wrong things. We fall. We get up and we learn to grow. We move on. We live. And we thank God for always giving us another chance. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. We say wrong things. And the truth is,
she canceled on us. She said she has a gut instinct feeling that we're not together.
Wow, that is so Israeli. That is
In 5 days.
in a general context or an e-commerce context?
Both.
So in terms of two things, instead of maintaining like extra, should be grok, and you just maintain grok. You just wait.
Yeah. I mean, like literally everything that in the beginning, all these measures, first aid measures, they were literally all.
You have like a lot of different ethnicities. He is an Aramean, like Assyrian. Suryoyo. Are you Ashuri or Suryoyo?
Aramean.
Oh, okay.
Aramean.
Aramean. Not Aramean. Oh my God.
Aramean, whatever.
No, yeah, Aramean.
That's Armenian.
Okay. It's Aramean.
Aramean. It's not called Armenian. It's Aramean. Yeah.
No, I didn't mean
Yeah. Well, they speak Aramaic, just like different type of dialects in the Aramaic language.
And I can say we have changed the Germany over.
And
the fact that the only people that I see agree with the blasphemy, the only people that disagree about burning the Quran and they think that it's awful and everything like that is only the Assyrians. They have the same view about Christianity that the Muslims do about Islam.
Are you Somali?
No, I'm Swedish.
Okay, are you from Palestine?
want your cookie?
She canceled on us.
two things, instead of maintaining
ordered once the 4 gates.
take seriously because I'm like, if you're so good at playing a character, how am I sure that you're not playing one towards one specific thing. So if you want to target something so general,
I've been through too much, so I don't like express. Tell you one thing.
Eternal life does not leave him, and he becomes again as a child. Whosoever knows his purity and guards his weakness is an example to the world. If he is an example to the world, eternal life does not leave him, and he returns. If he is the gorge of the Whosoever does not cherish his teachers and does not love his subject matter, for all his knowledge he would be in grave error. This is the great secret. Whosoever knows his maleness and guards his femaleness, he is the gorge of the world. If whosoever does not cherish what the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that watch your eyes as she Okay, I'm going to chant some Stoic meditation here. And hope you enjoy it. I'm going to create some clips, I guess. What up, Craig? I'm going to create some clips on here for YouTube. I'm going to make an espresso real quick. Listen to this. This is.
Can no longer rely on exploiting cheap foreign labor. Now they have to appeal directly to you and offer you a solution. They have to come to you at terms that you will agree to, because they can't undermine you with practically illiterate, non-English speaking individuals who were purposefully bussed into your cities by the governors who claim to be defending the law that they swore an oath to uphold and defend. What happens if we go and clean house and we take all the people who have violated the law to be here? We would approach a glorious, prosperous, beautiful future. And that's a guarantee. That's an absolute goddamn guarantee that you can take to the bank. And you'll have a bank that'll have real assets, real commodity-backed money, when you disallow the exploitation of immigrant populations, when you consistently and uniformly enforce the law. And when you consistently and uniformly enforce the law, everyone who is being hurt by the law, who understands that it's going to, like if I I don't know if you people have children. I mean, I'm shocked to see how many people don't have children or have never trained an animal. If you inconsistently enforce anything with a child, you will create a little tyrannical monster that is uncontrollable, that is unpredictable, and that will always be a struggle. But if you simply consistently apply rewards and punishment, if you consistently and uniformly enforce the law with a dog, with a human being, with a child, you will get consistent results. And yes, sometimes those consistent results are that your child has now become your enemy, that animal is now your enemy, because it does not agree with the terms you've set, with the law that you've set. But at least there is principle. And now the individuals know who are the enemies and who are the allies. It is in the gray area where the law is only selectively enforced that we are all made victims and exploited by our indecisiveness, by our ignorance, by our inability to discern truth. Because we never know where the law might be enforced, and maybe the law doesn't really exist. And then the next thing you know, the ATF is knocking on your door, and your neighbors aren't doing anything to stop them, but your neighbors told you that they believed in the Second Amendment. What are you doing? They're taking me away. I guess I better pretend that I don't have the right to keep and bear arms. I lost my guns in a boating accident. That's what happens. Nothing bad, only good can possibly come from consistently and uniformly enforcing the law.
Can I just go back to the purposes of like what our founding fathers did, or what our fathers did, or what all generations of fathers do in all countries playing this global game strategy of, security, what you could say is domination. But the point is that, your father is supposed to educate you in the law, in love, in prosperity, in English, how to use weapons, how to learn and defend your Constitution, to take ownership and personal responsibility for the dilemma. George Bush can snicker and laugh when Trump says he's going to release who killed Kennedy, and that's the first thing my father texted me. I can't wait to find out who killed Kennedy, because for him in his life, he was born in 46, when he witnessed that was his 9/11 moment. From JFK to 9/11 to the COVID-19 zabs, these are connected events, and there is a deep-rooted conspiracy in this country, which is essentially needs to be, there needs to be a light shined on these truths. And if Trump doesn't open up the floodgates of that truth, we will continue living in a mass deception, in my opinion.
I gotta disagree with the idea that we should rely in any way, shape, or form on Donald Trump to shine a light on anything.
Yeah, the shrimps on treadmills. Yep, that's the thing. I mean, I just want to put it out there that money on cat massages might have been well spent. Yeah, take it from Laura Cat.
Rarely had coins at all. I confronted. Rarely had coins at all. Hold on. I'm asking you, what are some alternate explanations? What are some alternate explanations for this behavior among ultra-Orthodox Jewish communities?
You hear the weirdest and funniest shit on this app. Okay. We're going to create some clips here. We're about to get through the Tao Te Ching. I hope you enjoy it. I'm doing 15-second snips now. I'm not doing anything over 15 seconds. Going to stay short and create a lot of volume. Therefore, the poet has these words: the clear Tao appears to be dark. The Tao of progress appears as retreat. The smooth Tao appears to be rough. The highest life appears as a valley. The highest purity appears as shame. Therefore, the poet has these words. And so I was also thinking about, like, when is the best time to record these videos? And I was thinking you do like a small amount in the morning, like 20% in the morning, 80% in the afternoon. Because I know people who, you know, are big into YouTube that do make money, and I mean, they're scheduling how they coordinate it with, I suppose, their life routines is an interesting question. But if you really want to be disciplined on distribution, I mean, the time that you release based on peak internet usage is, I think, something to always be aware of. And I was thinking about that yesterday. Okay, here we go. The broad life appears to be insufficient. The strong life appears to be stealthy. The true essence appears to be changeable. The great quadrant has no corners. The great instrument is completed late. The great tone has an inaudible. Broad life appears. The great instrument is completed late. The great tone has an inaudible sound. The great image has no form. Tao in its seclusion has no name, and yet it is precisely Tao that is good at giving and completing. Tao generates the one generates the instrument is complete. Therefore, the poet has these words: the clear Tao appears to be dark. The Tao of progress appears as retreat. The smooth Tao appears to be rough. The highest life appears as a valley. It's a little vaguer in the Synoptic Gospels, but if you read the Gospel of John, Tao generates the one generates the two generates the three generates all things of darkness at their back and strive towards the light, and the flowering power gives them harmony. What men hate is forlornness. Tao generates the one generates the two generate. All things of darkness at their back and strive towards the light, and the flowing power gives them harmony. What men hate is forlornness, loneliness being a trifle, and yet princes and kings choose these to describe themselves. For all things of dark. What men hate is forlornness, loneliness being a trifle, and yet princes and kings choose these to describe themselves. For things that either increase through diminution or diminish through increase. I too teach what others teach. The strong do not die a natural death. This I will make the departure point of forlornness. Clips are basically bits. That would be a good name for a startup. Bits. Because bits is what happens when you chew. Chewing it to bits. What is forlornness, loneliness being a trifle, and yet princes and kings choose these to describe themselves. For things that either increase through diminution or diminish through increase. I too teach what others teach. The strong do not die in that.
If anybody actually does want to come, you can definitely meet me in Dallas or something and drive down with me. Even when he has all the glory before his eyes, he remains satisfied in his loneliness. How much less may the Lord of the realm take the world lightly in his person? By taking it lightly, one loses the road to restlessness.
Forgiving people in silence and choosing never to talk to them again. It's not about anger or holding a grudge. It's about self-care. It's about letting go of the weight they left behind without reopening the door to more pain. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Forgiving people in silence and choosing never to...
Alone it stands and does not change, it turns in a circle and does not endanger itself. One may call it the mother of the world, I do not know its name, I call it Tao. Painfully giving it a name, I call it Great Great. That means always in motion. Alone it stands and does not change, it turns in a circle and does not endanger itself. One may call it the mother of the world, I do not know its name, I call it Tao. Painfully giving it a name, I call it Great Great. That means always in motion. Alone it stands and does not change, it turns in a circle and does not endanger itself. One may call it the mother of the world, I do not know its name, I call it Tao. Painfully giving it a name, I call it Great Great. That means always in motion. Alone it stands and does not change it.
Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. We say wrong things. We do wrong things. We fall. We get up and we learn to grow. We move on. We live. And we thank God for always giving us another chance. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. We say wrong things. We do wrong things. We fall. We get up and we learn to grow. We move on. We live. And we thank God for always giving us another chance. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. We say wrong things. We do wrong things. We fall. We get up and we learn to grow. We move on.
Because I don't treat niggas like this. So wrong, but I'm strict on something. I'm not gonna fuck you, nigga. I like fucking nigga bitches.
He doesn't fuck like that.
Yeah, because listen, yo, who is this Turkish whore, bro? Shut your bitch up.
You're a Turkish whore.
Happy you're getting in the way of their relationship.
I know.
Fucking prostitute.
Way cock blocking.
But you know what's funny? This girl was the same. Hold on. She's a new Ryan. Well, last year this girl was exposed for taking all this out. We were fucking ashamed, so.
You don't even know who I am.
I know exactly who you are. You was like blocking.
Hi, excuse me, Durham. This is Wisdom. I'd like to speak with Black Rabbi about his exciting new book, AI Technology.
Nigger AI.
Hopefully you can shut the fuck up. You can.
Oh, by the way, Wisdom, can you check your Ellen Watts profile? I sent a screenshot where Elon Musk came in the room. You weren't either.
You
I
don't
hope
forget people.
Musk
They look.
fucks you in the ass when he meets you.
Dealing alcohol.
Hi, moderators. I would like to make an attention to order. I would like to read from the book The Tao and show some ancient Chinese AI philosophy technology, if I may.
Shut up, nigger.
No.
Shut up, nigger.
Is that the current vocabulary?
Yeah, the thing is,
We have a
the
word
thing
for
is
that.
but the thing is that each step you can try to like figure out like what's the error on this step, and then you from there you can propagate the error up. So that's why I say like the universe, they end up with saying like it's like 13 billion years plus or minus a billion. Because it's like you think a billion is like a long time, but it's like it ends up being like a 10% or whatever.
And did you come to any answers about God through astronomy or not yet?
No, not through science. Like when I went, okay, so like I went through like 3 years of just feeling like kind of being disillusioned, and then like my senior year, I learned that like my best friend was actually also a Christian, and we just never talked about religion before. Because we were both like assuming the same things about each other, like, oh well, you're here and you're doing science.
Okay, this is Tao book, NLP hypnosis programming. This is Wisdom. Hi, this is a 15-second short. I want you to follow this account because I'm doing Tao book NLP hypnosis programming. I'm reading from the Tao Te Ching to program you to hypnotize your mind. So like this video, add it to the Tao playlist, then listen to all 10 and you will have Taoistic NLP programming.
Hi, this is a
I know my wig fell off. I lost it in a massive welcome spear.
Tao generates the one generates the two generates the three generates all things of darkness at their back and strive towards the light, and the flowering power gives them harmony. Tao generates the one generates the two generates the three generates all things of darkness.
And basically, they could grow the economy to cancel out the last trillion, and basically inflation would be negligible.
We got Vivek being there. That was pretty nice.
episode. Yeah. We got Vivek being there. Autism intensifies. I think about triangles now. Like a lot about it. It's fucking amazing. I'm serious, by the way. But anyway, autism, because it's a Doge space, of course. Right. But like, what's like Department of Gooning Efficiency? Ooh, nice. I opened up a huge can of worms there. I did not intend this, by the way.
Hi, this is a 15-second short. I want you to follow this account because I'm doing Tao Book NLP hypnosis programming. I'm reading from the Tao Te Ching to program you to hypnotize your mind. So like this video, add it to the Tao playlist, then listen to all 10 and you will have Taoistic NLP. Hi, this is a 15-second short. I want you to follow this account because I'm doing Tao Book NLP hypnosis programming. I'm reading from the Tao Te Ching to program you to hypnotize your mind. So like this video, add it to the Tao playlist, then listen to all 10 and you will have Taoistic NLP. Hi, this is a 15-second short. I want you to follow this account because I'm doing Tao Book NLP hypnosis programming. I'm reading from the Tao Te Ching to program you to hypnotize your mind. So like this video, add it to the Tao playlist, then listen to all 10 and you will have Taoistic NLP. Hi, this is a 15-second short. I want you to follow this account because I'm doing Tao Book NLP hypnosis programming. I'm reading from the Tao Te Ching to program you to hypnotize your mind. So like this video, add it to the Tao playlist, then listen to all 10 and you will have Taoistic NLP. Hi, this is a 15-second short. I want you to follow this account because I'm doing Tao Book NLP hypnosis programming. I'm reading from the Tao Te Ching to program you to hypnotize your mind. So like this video, add it to the Tao playlist, then listen to all 10. For things that either increase through diminution or diminish through increase, I too teach what others teach. The strong do not die a natural death. This I will make the departure point of my teaching. The married ones are thinking. Or diminish through increase. I too teach what others teach. The strong do not die a natural death. This I will make the departure point of my teaching. Let it be that state of manyhood, bound in loathing, so with thy all thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that and no other shall say nay, for pure will unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. The perfect and the perfect are one, perfect and not two, nay, are none. Nothing is a secret key of this law. 61 the Jews. What up, Zach? I'm doing 15-second clips. I'm working in the new age economy. Are you ready to join my YouTube 15-second cartel money-making scheme to hypnotize with wisdom?
Every time I tell you what I'm doing in the real world, I'm afraid you're going to judge me.
tell you what I'm doing in the real world right now, but I feel your judgment coming. Do you want me to tell you what I'm doing? Or just go back to your work and I'll listen? I'm going to get my fingerprints fingerprinted so I can be a driver's ed instructor.
Okay. I've had to do that. I've done it many times. Sometimes I forget I'm 42.
I think I missed the driveway.
Okay, I'm going to shoot a 15-second clip here. Listen to this. The softest thing on earth overtakes the hardest thing on earth. The non-existent overtakes even that which has no interstices. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words the value of non-action.
The soft.
So the nicest thing about creating these is like you don't have to write lengthy titles.
I like these videos. Are you on TikTok?
No, I mean I am actually. Yeah, I do have two. You know, a lot of content on it too.
There is something to be said about the TikTok algorithm is different from the YouTube and the Instagram.
Yeah, see, you know, there are just so many big accounts out there that just, it's so hard to compete. This is like my most bit compressed way to do it is to read the Tao Te Ching because it is so.
This is smart, but I'm saying this would make a good TikTok channel.
Well, that's why you did Tao and Tanya because like we're doing this together right now at this very moment. The all important is the now. I'm doing it. You're assisting me. But I want you to do this as well at home.
I have had trouble kind of understanding what the fuck you're talking about, but the other day I did have a vision, which is basically I understood what you've been telling me all along, which is that if I'm simply recording, if we're reading to each other and we're both recording, then we can just both be creating at the same time.
Yeah, it's
real
time now.
I understand this is what you've been telling me for a long time, but I guess I just didn't really put it together. But the other day I was like, oh, I could be just filming myself reading. Because some of the readings that I've done with you, I'm like, I wish I had that recording. Like, that was a good reading. And then I was like, oh, this is what he's been telling me to do all along.
Yeah, you know, you were like, you want me to help you bootleg Clubhouse? I was like, oh, I like how you put it that way. But I want you to bootleg yourself. Basically, it's recording, you know, these sacred texts. If you work with these sacred texts, it's the best way to work. It's so compressed. It's so bitted. It's so opposite of what atheists are talking about. And if they read this stuff, they would be like, shit, we're wasting our time. This is like, basically, it's like a source book or a magic book. Or that's how I would say it. It's like, that's basically what all these sacred text documents are. Is they're meditation consultations. So if you look at Marcus Aurelius's book, he used that to do meditation and self-reflection or contemplation. So that's what all these books are essentially for. But the more compressed the book, the greater the contemplation. So then it always deals with Tao, which is God. So I don't know, you kind of become like a monk, and then you realize that there's so much like wisdom in philosophy and psychology that like it's essential for business. So it all goes hand in hand with the material world, because the greater your wisdom, most definitely the greater your chances of succeeding in life is, because you can contemplate your path with incredible clarity and transparency, luminosity, wisdom. The whole thing is wisdom. Like, these wisdom books do increase your IQ because you see life for what it is, which is one insane you know, path of yes and no's, essentially, zeros and ones. So it's a little bit like the Matrix. You know, I'm trying to use these books to do NLP reprogramming. the name of this room is Tao Book NLP Hypnosis Reprogramming or Programming. So, you know, I just view that like even the recording I made this morning. See, Zach, I essentially, like Alan Watts says, like we in the West don't understand reality because we don't view it like the Hindus, which is essentially theatrics or theater performances. So even last night, Elon Musk was like, "What did you think of the performance?" You know, he's performing. He has two different voices, his Elon voice and his Adrian Dittman voice. He lisps and he stumbles and he stutters as Elon Musk, but when he becomes Adrian Dittman, he speaks with much more clarity and eloquence. So he's performing, and it's I kind of am like disgusted that he has like this, that he is essentially using a fake voice as Elon Musk. It's kind of weird, but anyways, it's on my YouTube. I mean, I have been clipping the shit out of him because seeing him operate two profiles, you know, on two major rooms, and last night he was talking with two senators, and gosh, anyways, it's just crazy the contrast between the professional communication.
And he was talking with senators as Adrian Dittman.
No, as Elon Musk.
But he also had an Adrian room.
Immediately after, he opened up an Adrian Dittman Doge response room, and he had Vivek Ramaswamy on there. So,
As Adrian.
And guess what his last sentence was? "My superpower is my huge dick, which is where my autism lives. Thank you. Have a good night." I'm not making that up. Like, he says the craziest, cringe, weirdest shit, but he's having fun. But see, this is the craziness of the internet and a pen name and being immature and irascible. You think Elon Musk is like a professional? No, he's incredibly irascible. So it's just so interesting to record it and put it out there, because like one of these days, one of my clips is going to get picked up and blown up, because like I will have the most embarrassing combination of Elon Musk's basically as Dittmans. Or I should just write, yeah, Dittmans. It's Dittmanism. That's what the world is basically coming down to, is Elon Musk, the new age super philosopher, because of his distribution power. And he says, "I love absorbing all these." Anyways, that's what I'm doing. It's going well. As long as they deleted one of my Instagram accounts recently, which was a big blow. It's like, why? Can't get it back. I had to upload a driver's license. They wouldn't give it back to me. It's like so annoying. It's so arbitrary. You can have no confidence in these platforms. And having your own platform is impossible. But I'm gonna like but I have so many videos on YouTube that are private right now, because like once you create a live stream and then you end it, it goes private, and then you have to make it public. So I have like hundreds of videos on private that I need to bring public. And it's pretty much all Clubhouse and a lot of Elon Musk. It's a lot of Clubhouse, but Elon goes live for 4 hours, then I'm on here like 8 hours a day. But my goal is to get to the gym as soon as I'm finished creating these clips. And I don't know, maybe I'll do like 10. Call it a day. And this is very artistic because there's so many cool effects in YouTube. And when you're reading poetry and like enlightenment poetry, it's I think it's important, because a lot of people who watch YouTube and TikTok will never ever read these books. So it's like you can like illuminate somebody instantaneously. It's kind of cool. It's like some Buddhas, like they wake up immediately. Others take 20, 30 years, but it's like if you can catch somebody in the algorithm with something special, it's like, whoa, maybe this stuff can you can monetize it. Here we go. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth. Name a person, which is closer, person or possession, which is more.
From this For things that either increase through diminution or diminish through increase, I too teach what others teach. The strong do not die a natural death. This I will make the departure point of my teaching. For impenetrable to the eye, they were like the turbid. Who can clear up the turbid little by little through stillness as they did? Who can create stillness little by little through duration as they did?
And basically, they could grow the economy. We got a Vivek, autism intensifies. Because it's a Doge space, of course. I opened up. We have I can't believe I'm going to explain this, by the way. So if you have any children in the background, get them off the phone now. So basically, what it is when people masturbate, sometimes they tend to want. Good for you. Where did you put the bombs? So it's like a double-edged sword. Yeah.
The highest benevolence is like water. The benevolence of water is to benefit all beings without strife. It dwells in places which man despises. Therefore it's thus also is the spirit of the valley never. The space between heaven. Tao is forever flowing, and yet it never overflows in its effectiveness. It is an abyss like the ancestor of all things. It mellows their acuity, it dissolves their confusion, it mitigates their brightness, it unites. Therefore, the man of calling governs thus. He practices teaching without heavy and light.
Almost $69,000 US dollars to that. Well, people are going schizo, so they're going to do what we're going to do. Anyways, back to the topic of the Doge space. Let's talk about it. Yeah. What do you guys think of them getting rid of USA and NED? Sorry. Right. Was flying 100 feet above their maximum altitude. If you see me shoot over 50 feet.
The Tao that can be expressed is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. Non-existence I call the beginning of heaven and earth. Existence I call the Tao that can be expressed.
Osiris, the father, when the universe was imagined as
Prescribing. We're terrible.
From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth. Name a person which is closer, person or possession. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth. Name a person which is closer, person or possession. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth. Name a person which is closer, person or possession. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth. Name a person which is closer, person or possession. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value.
The softest thing on earth overtakes the hardest thing on earth, and non-existent overtakes even that which has no interstices. From this one recognizes the value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth.
The softest thing
Name or person, which is closer, person or possession, which is more, winning or losing, which is worse, but then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things.
Name or person, which is closer, person or
What a vibration. A vibration is like a meditation. Vibration, meditation.
value of non-action, teaching without words. The value of non-action is attained by but few on earth. Name or person, which is closer, person or possession. From this one recognize a person, which is closer, person or possession, which is more, winning or losing, which is worse, but then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great thing. Name or
Okay, give me a minute. Hair vibration, positivity, meditation. I'm doing some work here real quick. Here we go. Therefore, the man of calling does not need to go, and yet he knows everything. He does not need to see, and yet is he clear. He does not need to do anything, and yet he completes. Whosoever practices,
therefore,
we're going to call this positive vibrations. Meditation.
from this one
But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not.
But then whosoever hankers name or person, which is closer, person or possession, which is more, winning or losing, which is worse, but then
Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger, and thus can last forever. Great completion must appear as if inadequate. Thus it becomes infinite.
whosoever is from
Okay, vibrational positivity. What's going on? This is Lao Tzu. This is the All Now Joy Hypnosis NLP Programming Tao Room.
Yo. Hello.
Hello, vibrational. How are you?
Digging the vibes, man.
Positive vibrations. All right.
Yeah, how long have you been? Cause I've never seen any of you.
I know.
You just start this.
No, I've been doing this for years, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah, it looks like we're already friends. So we must have met somewhere at some point.
Yeah. I haven't. So now I'm just like creating 15-second clips. You know, I'm not doing any long. I'm just really creating bits. So I'm using the Tao Te Ching to do it.
And what is that?
I'm putting these clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
15.
You said the Tao Te Ching. What is that?
Oh, it's a Chinese philosophy book by Lao Tzu.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with Lao Tzu and his watch quote. That's as much as far as my knowledge goes on the man.
Oh. Yeah, this is Chinese dualistic philosophy. This is basically like binomial philosophy. Zeros and ones. It's like all about God and then the pairing of opposites.
Interesting. Okay. And you do like hypnosis for like your main profession, or it's just kind of like a hobby or interest or something?
Just a hobby, really.
Yeah.
You know, I think doing this type of this hobby work helps with, you know, your career endeavors. So I'm like looking at this as like reprogramming myself and then distributing the programming, hopefully to like monetize it at some later date.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's badass, man. I did something similar, and it definitely, man. I mean, you already know. You've probably seen the results through your work that you've been doing this whole time. Well, you know, regardless of who sees it. It's all very fascinating just because there's so many ways you can tap into reprogram yourself. And just really comes down to, you know, our creative expression. So, let's see, do you have because I don't see any profile or anything. You don't have like your Instagram linked or nothing like that? Can you hear me?
Hey, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, what was that vibrational?
I noticed you don't have anything linked in your profile, like Instagram, because I was gonna check out your YouTube channel, but you don't have anything linked.
Yeah, let me pin the link to the room.
Yeah, I think you're onto something though, dude. I mean, like, not all very niche rooms appeal to me, and I'm not satisfied very easily. But I really dig the vibe and kind of what you're doing, and I like just from the brief moments we've spoken, and you told me a little bit about it. I think it's a really ingenious way to like you say, do some little self transformation, little promotion, and adding to the collective vibration all at the same time.
Yeah. What you put out into the internet is who you are and become. So putting the Tao out onto YouTube, especially in breaking it up into 15-second increments, allows you to really focus on the specific 15 seconds, because there's so much in 15 seconds in the Tao that to really bit it up, break it up, isolate it, you can extract and experience and contemplate, the deepest and most difficult concepts. So it is transformational. It is transformational.
Are you familiar with the Vedic text at all?
Yeah. Yep.
Would you say just like beginner, intermediate, or where would you say
I don't know. I mean, I've read a lot of different like Hindu texts. I've done a lot of Hindu chanting and Sanskrit chanting, and it's all great. That's when you realize that all books are hypnosis books, and it just becomes like food, like Chinese food, Mexican food, Polish food. It's just,
I like that.
Yeah. Pizza, Roman philosophy, Greek philosophy, Greek food. It's food. Yeah. But it's always hypnosis, and it's always essentially very close to the same thing. It's always modified.
Yeah, I'm also a devout mantra practitioner, and I love my Buddhist and Hindu mantras and just affirmations in general. But I just recently I moved into a Vedic temple around almost 3 months now, and I've been studying under different specific spiritual masters, things like that, and learning a lot about the Hare Krishnas and things of that nature. So I was just curious if you had looked into it, because it seems that you're really fond of the Tao. And one of my spiritual masters here, he was a Tai Chi practitioner for 15 years, and as well as a Buddhist for 10 years. And he actually lived in a temple, and he did a lot of different services within that temple, and just really connected with the pure essence of what Buddhists represent. But he said that he felt like it was lacking something, and that was the personality and the deeper connections you can get with aspects of Godhood. And he said that's what drew him to Hinduism, because obviously Buddhism is just a sect that was taken from the Hindu philosophy and Vedic text, and they created their own kind of more mechanical, kind of just like blank, like into the void, the God is the void, and that was it. There's not really much personality going on after that. And so he said that's what personally drew him to the Hindu culture, because he wanted that deeper, personal, humanistic, I guess you could say, relationship. And so I would like to hear from people that are devout followers of other practices that are also familiar, with the core principles of Hindu culture. Do just to kind of see why you chose that specific route, or maybe you resonate more with that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I like Thanksgiving. I like the cornucopia. I like all flavors. I like Hindu food. I like Chinese food. I like Japanese food. I like American cuisine. I like British cuisine, German cuisine. So to me, every language has sacred texts, and I want to work with all sacred texts. So I don't discriminate between sacred texts. I think they're all, again, just different flavors and recipes.
Do you have a preference? Or one that you feel maybe is most mechanically effective in the way that they present their teachings so far?
Yeah, I would say Dhammapada by Buddha, and Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, and Zhuangzi's The Way, Marcus Aurelius Meditations, Epictetus Enchiridion, Plato's Republic. Again, these are like my favorite hypnosis scripts that I've recorded for many years. And then I love Aleister Crowley poetry and Rumi poetry. Any mystical sage sacred text, I could grab 10 books and it would be enough for a lifetime. But there's so many books and there's only so much time.
Yeah.
You have to choose wisely. I mean, it's a little bit like you stop eating sugar cereal because you grew out of being a retard, and then you just start consuming, high value content. But you have to figure out a groove to do it, in the right balance, basically. But it's all balance work. The whole universe, the whole universe is in equilibrium, and it takes only a feather to overturn it. So, people do not guard what they're listening to.
Yeah, that's absolutely facts. I guess I definitely pretty new to a lot of these things because I was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses my whole life up until about 7 years ago, and so it's been a lot of constant reprogramming and discovery and self-realization and things of that nature.
Yeah, but Jehovah in Christ is essentially the same thing as all of these books, just in, the Western or Judaic or, Roman context. I mean, geographically specific.
Well, that's true. That's true. But the Jehovah's Witness cult, because that's what they are, it really, the way that they represent the Christian truth through the Holy Script, the scriptures, is they create their own agenda and their own narrative using scripture. So it's actually an illusion of truth. It's an illusion of love. It's an illusion of self-realization, and they block you off from all of these things. And they keep you sheltered in a tiny little box. And anytime you venture out of that tiny little box, well, then you're automatically an apostate. They want you. They tell you to ask questions and to think critically, yet they just condemn it if you start to try.
Well, those organizations are breaking apart, or we think they're breaking apart, but the whole thing is you have to venture out on your own and get the good books and do experiments, and you'll be so much happier that you did, because there's no alternative. It's like if you've never eaten at a 5-star restaurant and all you've eaten is, street food, and anyways, I'm just saying, I hope you live a rich life.
Yeah, no. Sure. I'm on the same page. I mean, that's what I've been doing for almost 7 years now, and I absolutely could not be it's just the bliss continues to grow and expand. It's like, it's crazy, man. I mean, we're talking about hypnosis and brainwashing and whatever. Like, that's the ultimate form of possession. Is these cults, specifically the JW cult, because they are probably one of the most extreme cultist groups out there. I would even say above the Mormons.
Well, you could say that there's varying degrees of networks. I think that the English language network is probably the biggest cult on the planet. The English language industrial complex, because all communication is hypnosis, and so it's all happening in English for the most part. And it's, there's so many English speakers, there's so many Chinese speakers. China is like I would love to go to China to like observe their society, because how are they more robotic than robots, because if you're the perfect state citizen putting out perfect content on state TV, but then what's really happening on the ground? So I don't know, China would be an interesting place to observe the communication bubble or firewall.
Yeah, I would say China and Russia both. Just for the sheer fact of the amount of propaganda and brainwashing we've all been generationally forced into to create the narrative that they tell us. It's like, TikTok, the banning of TikTok was a great example of that. There's a lot of truths getting out that, not to say that the Chinese aren't communists, but how much different would they actually be than America is? Because America's a pretty shitty space, pretty shitty. Well, it has been for a long time now. So it's like, yeah, like you say, you go and you observe, see how different it actually is. It's probably not so different, but yet the complete opposite. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you think about like the disaffected population who can organize with intelligence and, strength resistance. I don't know. History is like governments folding over, being overtaken. It's like, will we witness that in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Like, will there be major global, because regime change, happens, and it happens probably every couple of years globally, like in major countries. So I don't know, there has to be more regime change. The Trump administration is essentially regime change, just the peaceful transfer of regime change through nonviolent means. But the through violent means, like that shit it could accelerate as opposed to decelerate. And it's like, how do you know which is good or bad? I would say it's bad, but I'm just saying it's happening.
The interesting thing that definitely has never been, unless we're going back to like Atlantean times, if you vibe with that and you resonate with that, I believe, they actually have proof that Atlantis City is actually real. They just recently found at least from my understanding, they recently found some evidence of it, because pretty much at that point it was all myth. But then again, you go back to the Egyptians, and the people that had defeated the Egyptians they called sea people, and they literally couldn't find. I'm not sure. I'm sure if you're familiar with the history on it, but it's an interesting read. But all I'm getting at is the robotic aspect now. Because now we have all of these forms of robotics and AI systems to do everything for us, including battle. So I'm thinking that hopefully, if there is any kind of violent escalation, it's going to be a battle it's going to be a cyber war or robotic war. So less human life casualties, hopefully, more emphasis on just domination through, warfare of robotics. If we get into that standoff, which seems inevitable, but I guess it just depends on what form of dimensionality you're choosing to portal into at the end of the day. But it's an interesting show, so we'll see.
Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Great completion must appear as if in a whosoever is.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot a couple more of these 15-second clips on YouTube right now. And there's
Cool,
always
man. Well, I just added you up, and I have my own YouTube channel. I have some pretty good pieces of content on there because I do energy hypnosis, so it's definitely kind of a little bit different take on traditional hypnotic strategies.
Mhm.
But I work a lot with subliminal messaging, and it's so fucking powerful, bro. So you probably dig it.
okay. It's in the chat.
No, I just up to your YouTube channel. It's,
Yeah, check out my Elon Musk videos because I have been recording Elon Musk for 6 months, and it is just I don't know. It's just ridiculous that somebody shifts from a public-facing professional to being a vulgar person. It's like we have the public face, and then we have this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde aspect. And I feel like my psychology is pretty integrated that maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm ridiculous. Maybe I'm I'm totally full of shit. Like, I'm totally ridiculous. But the point is hypnosis communication and propaganda that people put off this this personality, which is not their authentic personality. And as a result, it's like the gotcha moment where everybody's like, when you compare what somebody says with regards to a very important topic versus them acting like a vulgar human being, it's like you realize it's all hypnosis communication. So what somebody's saying is, not necessarily the truth. And like we're accepting it as the truth, but it's just not the truth. Because on the flip side, I don't know how to describe it. I'm just saying that my recordings of Elon Musk to me are priceless because they're unrecorded spaces. And he goes live on X. Like last night, he went live with two senators and Vivek Ramaswamy, who's going to run for governor. So it's like, you judge people based on the company they keep. And when you hear all of these unrecorded spaces that I have of Elon Musk and you compare it to what he's saying on massive issues daily on national and global scale, and they're unrecorded spaces, it's like you can't say that it doesn't exist anymore. So just because you say it in an unrecorded space doesn't mean that everything you've ever said on the internet now publicly is not being like prepared and stored to contrast what you're doing and what you're saying, to basically prove that you're a hypocrite and you're retarded and low vibration. But you think you're high vibration, but because your vibration is relative to everybody else's vibration. And when your vibration is diminished because of things you've said on the internet and it's used against you, your vibration does go down because your vibration is like a gravitation. So I'm just saying you have to be careful what you say, and it's best to do meditation work and not talk about, vulgar issues.
Yeah, dude. I mean, 100%. I wish more people would really take that to heart and act on it, because it's one thing to talk about it, which it is not even talked about much, but so many people fall privy to the hypnosis or whatever strategic moves they use to push this content on us and distract us. And it's like, yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. It's a very crafty and genius way, honestly. It's a genius way to lower the vibrational field for people on top of transforming them analytically, So it's crazy, man. And I feel like ones that are familiar and really in tune with hypnosis and the different strategies and just, the core principalities of how it works, truly understand this, the danger and how just extremely powerful it is, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. A lot of people don't take it seriously. It's pretty sad.
I always kind of think like, when you have two hypnotists talking to each other, it's a little bit like a homeless person going up to another homeless person saying, "Hey man, can you spare $1?" And then the homeless guy looks at the other homeless guy. He's like, "Motherfucker, I'm homeless." He's like, "I'm homeless, motherfucker." And they realize it's two beggars begging with each other. So, there is that moment where it's like somebody punches you in the face or the house is on fire. And you realize that like the world is moving at its own pace, but mass communication hypnosis is trying to bring like an ever increasing equilibrium basically to the anger management and meditational fields, meaning that the problems of mankind on the world today, right now, the all important now is always going to be love and anger, and creating a very dynamic, harmonious equilibration, equanimity, parity, paradise, beauty, joy. Like it always comes down to love, joy, happiness now, and not panicking about whatever the situation is, having no fear for 100 different variables. So I don't know. That's why I think the internet, is really incredible, because it gives you the ability to do pirate radio meditation or pirate radio hypnosis for equilibration, for teaching people luminosity, numinosity, divine joy, and knowing that the now is the all important. And if everybody's in the now, always, you're always essentially organizing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get your drift. I don't know. I don't know. You kind of lost me at the homeless part. I was like, oh yeah, I get it. And then you kept going. I'm like, you lost me. But I think I understand overall what you're trying to say.
Meaning all communication is hypnosis. Like if it doesn't, it's just I'm just giving like a funny observation I actually experienced when I saw a homeless person begging another homeless person for money. And I realized that the first beggar didn't know that person was also a beggar. Anyways, I just witnessed that once. I was like, that's crazy. I've never seen a homeless person beg from another homeless person who didn't have the awareness that person was also homeless.
Wow. Yeah, the relatability. So, okay, check this out. I would like to get your opinion on this. And, okay, so I've developed a few different systems already that I believe does exactly what I'm about to say it does. But you talked about the internet being a place that's a constant flow of, data streams, downloads. It holds vibrational patterns and it transmits it to each of us on everyday life. It's just literally, it's an artificial, you can probably call it, it's an artificial hive mind. It's an artificial collective that, although yet not the real thing, it's still adding to the collective because of the vibrations that it holds based off of the psychic energy and the different forms of biogeometry that's basically embedded into it by the user that's making that transmission happen. And then vice versa for the users, or all users, we're all, depending on what form of dimensionality you tap into, meaning like website, chat room, whatever is going to be the downloads you're going to get from that user or group of users that create a very unique signature pattern, right? So what I have on for a few years now is what I like to call, well, I don't know, I guess you could call it a quantum vortex prayer system. I know that sounds a little scammy, but it's the best way I can describe it. And essentially, it's an automated thought machine to where you can go inside of an environment. And basically, if you it's like a really quick way to describe it is if you record your voice and you put it on a 24/7-hour persistent server and you play it on that server where it's playing even though you may not be logged into it, similar to like a MMORPG or like an online game, right? You log in, or you have like a Minecraft, you log into. I don't know. Are you familiar with like how persistent servers work?
No.
Okay. Imagine. Are you a gamer at all? Do you play any games?
Modern Warfare 4 or 5 or whatever it is on PS5. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just pretend that you had a login, and in order to get in, you had to put in your username, your password, blah, 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 and then now you're in your Modern Warfare world. And let's say that the match is never ending. It never resets, it never whatever. Let's just say it's like a big battlefield, and whoever logs on is going to be put on one side, and it's just going to be a constant exchange of a never-ending battle. It's persistent. And so what I am attempting to really refine and experiment with more and more over than anything is creating a constant vibrational amplified field by utilizing digital server systems that are 24 hours, running 24 hours, right? And something just as simple as making, and this is not the system I have, but this is just an example of kind of the functionality that I'm kind of getting at, is you log into the server, recording this constantly live. This is kind of like a YouTube, a live 24-hour live YouTube. It's going, it's playing, but even if no one's watching it, it's still playing. It's still running on that server as if it was actually playing in front of somebody. So in my viewpoint, it's still emitting those specific vibrational fields into the quantum through the digital alchemized, or digital alchemy through the 0 and 1 mechanical language, or machine learning. So it still is interacting with the light spectrum field, even if no one is actually observing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I heard that there was some patent that these camera lenses on your phone do like laser programming in your eyes. I know it sounds really stupid, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, I think it's like a conspiracy theory. I mean, I don't think that that's possible, but I still find it a funny joke to like bring up because it's on the, people publish all kinds of funny stuff on the internet basically, but if it's a real patent, I mean, I could probably Google it and find out if there's some, because a patent isn't necessarily an actual technology. It's just like a document on a hypothesis of a technology that they give you a patent on hypothetically, so I'm sure there's something like that, but this is real technology. I mean, I'm an idiot. Okay. I'm a person who knows how to read books into a cell phone. But I have absolutely, from a reverse engineering perspective, I have absolutely no idea how they manufacture the phone. And I mean, it's so complicated that I know I'm really stupid. But I also know that even recording these books, like the end user could be an engineer. And an engineer could find, an NLP, Tao, or any kind of sacred book hypnosis to be very valuable, because it brings him peace, and maybe he's very stressed out from having to invent and manage hyper technology,
Yeah, man. I mean, magnetic attraction is absolutely a thing, and if someone's on the same tune, they're inevitably going to be drawn to, this whatever vibe you're on, or you're promoting. Well, cool, man. Well, I'm gonna head out. I'm just getting ready for work. But cool connecting again, and like I said, I know you've been in Clubhouse a while, haven't you?
Yeah, since pandemic, pre-pandemic, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking we've had conversations before, but it's been like a year or two. But yeah. Well, good chat, man, and I got you added as sub to your channel. I'm gonna check out some more stuff. I would recommend actually you make some cooler thumbnails, ones that are more eye-catching and a little more descriptive of what it is you're doing, so you can draw in people. Because just the basic Clubhouse thumbnail is really dismaying. Like, it doesn't really, I don't know. Maybe for like a political person, maybe, but for someone that's looking for peace or something, kind of like what you're describing, it definitely is kind of the opposite of that. Just my perspective.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can, are you using AI image generation and AI video generation?
I deal with some things. I'm trying not to. I kind of keep it 50-50.
It's just a very quick fix, and it really, it really does put out images like Disney quality caliber. So it's like, there's like no reason to ever spend money anymore because you can do everything on the internet for free now. And if you are spending money, I mean, you better be making money, before you're even spending the money, because
okay, so let's just touch on that real fast, because I got some words for that. Although AI generation will only continue to improve and get more refined, something that it can never and never will be able to do is maintain and hold psychic energy or soul energy, and different aspects that come from our actual soul. It can emit frequencies and do all this stuff, but it will never be able to, operate from the transcendental realms. And that's a whole other powerhouse of conversation. So same thing with art. Like for instance, this picture I made, it's not as beautiful as an AI art photo, but there's a specific charm about it, energetically speaking, that some can feel, some may not be able to. It's more for my personal self, because there's a whole strategy behind why I even have that. But that's something it will never be able to replicate. So, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's why I think artists and our human, just self-made art will never actually go away. It may become less popular, but it's always gonna survive because of that alone.
Yeah, digital art, I think is dope because it is going to live on forever. But curation and the algorithm, so much in the internet will never be seen because the algorithm is basically trying to do mind control on the population. So much stuff is just going to be completely obliterated on the internet if there's population decrease. So I don't know. The future of art is always now, and the now is always important, the all important. So I don't know. Who's your favorite artists?
Well, I haven't really studied any specific artists. In fact, I wouldn't reference myself as an artist, just for the fact, well, I think everyone's an artist, but if we're talking like scholarly knowledge, I have zero of that. I don't know anybody's art, to be honest. except for nature and different, environments that hold that. But yeah, man, I have no idea.
Well, I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of famous artists, but I mean, you could say an actor is an artist for sure. So, who's your favorite actor?
I would say Dr. Joe Dispenza. I consider him an artist of the mind, and he's been able to restructure different forms of knowledge to really open the eyes of how all these things work. And I believe that to absolutely be an art. So if we're talking in just all fields, not just visual art,
the real thing is cinematic to the collective because of the vibrations that it holds based off of the psychic energy and the different forms of
So, what is like Dr. Joe Dispenza condensed? How would you bit him up? I mean,
well, the title, he has several different books, but one of them that could really probably sum this up is
genius way. Honestly, it's a genius way to
and there's another book of
lower
his is
the
Becoming
vibrational field for
Supernatural.
people on top of
And he's all about
transforming
self-healing and activation of dormant DNA that allows us to regenerate and things simply by using the mind and meditation and reconstructing our neural pathways to promote this form of kind of sovereign wellness that's not dependent on any kind of other structures to perform healings and just different resonances. And I guess, yeah, that's ultimately what it comes down to.
okay, I'm gonna keep working here. So, have a great day. It's been so much fun chatting with you, and God bless you. And I hope to talk to you again.
For sure, man. Peace and love, and good fortune to your endeavor on your YouTube channel.
Thanks, I appreciate it. What should I just call you Vibrational?
Yeah, you can just say that's what everybody calls me. Or my name is Ryan too, so if you don't vibe with that, you can just say Ryan.
Okay, cool. Okay, talk to you soon.
All right, man. Peace. Structure different forms of knowledge to really open the eyes of how all these things work. And I believe that to absolutely be an art. So if we're talking in just all fields, not just visual art.
And the real thing is cinematic to the collective because of the vibrations that it holds based off of the psychic energy and the different forms of
So, what is like Dr. Joe Dispenza condensed? How would you bit him up? I mean,
Well, the title, he has several different books, but one of them that can really probably sum this up is
genius way. Honestly, it's a genius way to
and there's another book
lower the vibrational field for people on top of transforming it.
Senator Cantwell, my question to you has to do with avian flu. Over 100 million birds call and there are now 67 confirmed.
I'm really happy to have here today a guest who's one of the great champions of small business in the United States. For over 30 years, Lloyd Chapman has worked to protect the interests of our nation's 27 million small businesses. In 2004, Mr. Chapman founded
restructure different forms of knowledge to really open the eyes of how all these things work. And I believe that to absolutely be an art. So if we're talking in just all fields, not just visual art.
But it is the annihilation of earthly joys and the pleasures of mortal life. Why study it? Ask the luxurious. In all simplicity, to know it, and constantly after.
Example of this is a type of mindset that manifests the people who protest saying, but like everybody else.
I mean, that's Afghanistan. The country's hardly, Supreme Maya, all this universe has been bewitched by thee. Thou, when pleased art the cause of salvation of man. All sciences are parts of thee, as also all women without exception throughout the world. By thee alone, O Mother, is the universe filled. How can we praise thee? Art thou not beyond all praise of highest speech? When, O Devi, being in the form of the universe and bestowing heaven and liberation, thou art worshipped.
Almost $69,000 US dollars to the Battery Das Corporation in China. And it was specifically, the description was, and I quote, to cover the expenses of dancing to connect workshops. And people are doing schizo, they're going to do what we're going to do. Sorry.
Basically, they could grow the economy to cancel out the last trillion.
We got a Vivek, autism intensive, because it's a Doge thing. I opened up, you have, I can't believe I'm going to explain this, by the way, so if you have any good for you, where did you put bombs? So it's like a double, yeah.
The highest benevolence is like water. The benevolence of water is to benefit all beings without strife. It dwells in places which man despises. Therefore it stands close to Tao. Indwelling the highest benevolence is like. Thus also is the man of calling. He disregards himself, and his self is increased. The spirit of the valley never dies. It is called the female. The gateway of the dark female, it is called the root of heaven and earth, uninterrupted as though persistent, it is effect. The spirit of the valley never Also take your fill and will of love as he will. There is a word to say about the head of delivered from the lust of results is every way perfect. The word of the Lord, Thanima. Obey my prophet, that I am infinite space, and the infinite stars thereof. Do ye also thus bind nothing? Let there be no difference made among you between any one thing and any other thing, for thereby there cometh hurt. But whoso availeth in this, let him be the chief of all. I knew it, and my word is 6 and 50. Divide, add, multiply, and understand.
Is that CEO Chicken Hillary? Oh my gosh, it is Hillary. She's got 13 friends now. That's so awesome. I'm listening to stuff, but I'm sitting here working. Do you want to hear some of my work?
Not right at this second. But I have listened to your videos. I have kept up with them. I've been listening to the new series on law.
Well, what about the Elon Musk videos from last night? Did you hear him say his greatest superpower is his autism and his huge penis?
Oh my God! Jesus God, just you know who I am on YouTube.
It's the YouTube account is Adrian Dittman Bitcoin. Let me post the link. And can you post this to your Blue Sky? Because this is the weirdest video ever.
Yeah. Oh, please do it right now. Right now.
Yeah, this is the I captured it on this phone actually. It was Joni Ernst and Mike Lee.
Send it to me. Oh my God, send it to me. Mike Lee was on there?
Yeah.
Send it to me.
You're not gonna believe this. He went from talking. Do you know did you get my text messages? He's such an actor.
Wait, hold on.
He's such an actor.
Wait a minute. I don't want to hear you, Seth. Put him on mute for a second.
Yeah, I gotta find it.
Can you text it to me and can you text it to me tonight on my phone?
If I can find it.
John.
No, I'm gonna post it to the room, but then I'll text it to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm just like right now. So as soon as you text it to me, I'm gonna go back and get away because I gotta put on my Blue Sky right now.
I have so much stuff on him on YouTube now. It's wild.
Okay, just right now. Did you text it to me?
It is so difficult to find what you post. Because their algorithm doesn't let you see what you want to find, and it is such a piece of junk.
I know. You loaded it. Look at the one you loaded. The most recent. It's impossible to find. Just send it to me. Text. You know what my text.
See, the problem is my cell phone is like a dummy phone. I don't have anything on it.
Send it to me in email here. Can you do that? Isn't your email on here?
That one has 1,500 views that says Elon Musk is Adrian Dittman.
Right. Send it to me on email here right now.
That's the problem is I can't. The name of the YouTube account is Adrian Dittman Bitcoin.
I'm gonna kill you.
What did you say?
I didn't do that. It's nuts. I just keep Aaron to goofy assholes. Sean, please.
Yeah, I can't find it. Let me just search for Elon Musk autistic penis.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. See, it doesn't. Oh yeah, here I got it. I found it. Yeah.
Can you text it to me?
I can't. I mean, I can. It's to take me a minute to text it to you, but let me pin it here.
Okay. Take your time. To Yusuf and I'll catch
Can you
up.
click it in this room?
No.
Seriously, it's right
Oh,
there.
yeah. Hold on.
It's in the room title. Yeah.
Hold on.
It's ridiculous. He's unhinged. He's like, sorry, I was super nerd level all day, so I'm getting a little unhinged. And then the other night he was like, I was at this girl's house and I fucked her in her house. Like he wants to just like get this shit out of his brain, into the public sphere. And he has to know that everything is being recorded and published. So it's like, I'm basically like policing him from even being worse, but that's the point is like, he just doesn't care. And it's like ridiculous that he says the things that he says. It's very vulgar. And, if he wants the public to take him seriously on what he's saying, he can't have this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality and get away with it. It's ridiculous for him to have his front-facing professional stutter. Last night, his voice, it changes when he goes from Elon to Adrian. He basically has a fake Elon Musk voice, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. It's a fake voice. It's insane. I didn't listen to the Tesla call earnings because I should have. I wanted to like record him there if he said anything, which I don't even know if he did, but I think he did actually because people in Reddit were commenting on it. Everything is being watched, but most people don't know that Adrian Dittman is Elon. And if everybody knew that, there would be even more recordings. And if you type in Adrian Dittman, Elon Musk, my shit is the only shit that really comes up. So nobody else is doing what I'm doing. So it's pretty important work, in my opinion. Because eventually this will all come out. And it's all on YouTube. It's insane. Anyways, that is the video above. Click that link. That's where he's talking about his superpower, huge dick, autism. He's like, my superpower is my huge dick, where I keep my autism. That's what he said. And then he like ended the room. He's nuts. He goes from being this ultra right-wing conservative pundit and organizer to being a pervert in 10 seconds. It's crazy. He thinks like nobody's listening, nobody cares. It's like, okay, well, why am I taking you seriously on one end of the spectrum and then thinking you're just a fucking comedian on the other end? No, you're a fucking clown full time. You know, I'm not gonna. I don't think that what he's basically saying. Give me the money. That's what he's really saying. Is stop spending the money. Give me the money. And it's like, nope, not if you're gonna do this, because it's ridiculous. You know, there's no transparency there. Anyways. I don't know if he's going to get his pay package, but I think he will eventually, right? He'll literally get a bank account with like, what is it, $59 billion? Could you imagine? Chicken Hillary. I mean, could you imagine if Chicken Hillary's CEO had a wire transfer for $59 billion from Tesla? I really like this Squid Game effect on YouTube. It's very artistic. Okay, I'm gonna create a Dao video here. These are just 15 second readings from the Dao De Jing. This is my work, Hillary. Don't interrupt me. Oh. See how I burp like Elon? Am I any better than Elon, Hillary? I'm just poor. I'm just a poor Elon who's complaining technically. Here we go. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Elon is like a guy who talks about what's in books, but he never reads books. He's like a guy who there was this letter. Go to Adrian Dittman on Reddit. There's this letter by a guy who knows him personally, and how he says that Elon is like, he's full of shit, that he's not technically proficient, and that he's just a fucking flim flam man. I mean, you got to give it.
He's a con artist. He's a sick person. He's mentally ill. He's a malignant, narcissistic, grandiose.
Yeah, but look at. Did you ever see the movie with Ray Kroc about McDonald's? How he basically turned McDonald's, into a multi-billion-dollar business.
No, I saw the other one where the guy threw up eating all the McDonald's, and I was in Pittsburgh with my brother.
Whosoever amasses.
And we were eating Chuckles.
Well, the thing is about business, is that it does become like a big manipulation. And the way that McDonald's see, the thing is, it's the genius of Ray Kroc. It is the genius of essentially the psychopath, or the genius, because psychopathology is tied into evolution. It's real. It's like, it is kill or be killed. So in many ways, like, you can't.
30% of all CEOs show sociopathic or dark trio traits. Fact. The ones I've met, they're all fucked up.
Well,
and they all have like a weird addiction, gambling,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Takers.
That's true.
They're all risk takers. But the deal is, he's insane.
Well,
and his family.
Let's not say he's insane. Let's just keep recording him and hope that my content gains traction and it adjusts his behavior, because that would be best for him. And it would get us credibility, notoriety, and then we'll get our film sold at Sundance, you know, and we'll be on Netflix. Listen,
Can I dress as the Queen of Transcarpathia?
You're the CEO. You do whatever you want.
Will you be my date? No. Okay.
I mean, your husband can be your date.
I'm the CEO. You could just be my escort.
Wow.
Okay, you go, Gabby, and I'll go with a gas mask and the Queen of Transcarpathia dress and knock them out.
Well, anyways, post that video to Blue Sky and say Elon Musk is talking about his huge penis.
I did. I wish. I don't know how the best way to do this is. I get tired waiting for him, and I know you do too. And it's like when I'm waiting for him and then you start talking or you start changing channels for the listener, I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Because it's like, and then you change the channel to something else.
Yeah.
And you change the channel back, and it's like, I can't sit here through this because then I have it on mute, and sometimes you go away and he's talking. And I know, because that's your life. I know it's your life, and I don't know what the answer is, but I can't, I'm not on top of your videos because I can't find you, and I never know when he's on, and it's too confusing. For me. If it's too confusing for me, but I think people are onto it, because I posted some old ones about anything juicy, like I posted some old ones about, I rewatched that thing, and that was an Elon Musk clone person. Joanne.
Somebody said you sound like Joanne.
Who's Joanne?
She's a Clubhouse user. She used to work at Studio 54.
Oh, cool. Is she from Pittsburgh?
No, she lives in New York.
Oh, she's from Brooklyn.
So, yeah.
And she's from Bronx. She's from the Bronx, right?
I think so, yeah.
There's regional accents out there. But yeah, he is so dangerous right now. And what people don't understand is, okay, you got these kids running around, and my brother kept saying this, he can't do that. I said, he can't, but he did. And he's like, but that's illegal. I'm like, it will blow up in his face. This is going to blow up in Trump's face. It's going to blow up in everybody's face. All the Republicans are going to suffer from this. It's the stupidest thing he ever did. And he basically locked himself in a box. What's he going to do now? What the hell is he going to do? He's been in the White House for 15 days. Living there. What's he going to do? I mean, if this thing is really bad, something happens, and I'm not saying something will happen.
Okay, hold on a second. I gotta meditate here. You're giving me too much stress to deal with over here. Okay, I'm gonna read the Tao Te Ching and cleanse myself from your anxiety-inducing rant. I will cleanse myself with the Tao. Here we go. Gotta breathe, Hillary. Great completion must appear as if inadequate, thus it becomes infinite in its effect. Great abundance must appear as if flowing, thus it becomes inexhaustible in its effect. Great straightness must appear as if crooked. Great talent must appear as if foolish. Movement overcomes cold, stillness overcomes heat. Purity and stillness are the world's measuring gauge. When Tao rules on earth, one uses the racehorses to pull dung carts. When Tao has been lost on earth, war horses are raised on the green fields. There is no greater sin than many desires. There is no greater evil than not to know sufficiency. There is no greater defect than wanting to possess. Therefore, the sufficiency of sufficiency is lasting sufficiency. Without going outdoors, one knows the world. Without looking out of the window, one sees the Tao of heaven. The further out one goes, the lesser one's knowledge becomes. Therefore, the man of calling does not need to go, and yet he knows everything. He does not need to see, and yet is he clear. He does not need to do anything, and yet he completes. Whosoever practices learning increases daily. Whosoever practices Tao decreases daily. He decreases and decreases until at last he arrives at non-action. In the non-action, nothing remains not done. The realm can only be attained if one remains free of busyness. The busy are not fit to attain the realm. The man of calling has no heart of his own. He makes the people's heart his own. To the good I am good. To the non-good I am also good, for life is goodness. To the faithful I am faithful. To the unfaithful I am also faithful. For life is faithfulness. The man of calling lives very quietly in the world. People look for him and listen out for him with surprise. And the man of calling accepts them all as his children. Going out of life, going in is death. 3 out of 10 are companions of life. 3 out of 10 are companions of death. 3 out of 10 are men who live and thereby move towards the place of death. What is the reason for this? Because they want to create an increase of their lives. Great completion must appear as if inadequate, thus it becomes infinite in its effect. Great abundance must appear as There's some people like screaming outside my house. I don't know if it's neighbors or... Sounds like it's going further away, so that's good news. It's like a storm. I've lived here for 4 years. I've heard a lot of screaming out in the streets. A lot of screaming, because there's a lot of cars and there's a lot of road rage over here. A lot of like... But then whosoever hankers after the... I gotta make sure it's like not one of my tenants. Tenants. Wow. There was a fight going on outside my house, and this like hot chick was fighting this ugly chick, and then the hot chick ran off barefooted, and then some other guy dashed out and ran after her, and then these other two girls in another SUV just like zoomed down the street trying to like capture this like hot chick who was fighting them running barefooted. They definitely look like little gangbangers. Hispanic gangbangers. They are my neighbors. You gotta be careful in Chicago. Wild. Wild, wild world. Diane Rhonda.
Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient. Great completion must appear as if inadequate, thus it becomes infinite in its effect. Great abundance must appear as if flowing, thus it becomes inexhaustible in its effect. Great straightness must appear as if crooked. Great talent must appear as if foolish. Movement overcomes cold, stillness overcomes heat. Impenetrable to the eye, they were like the turbid. Who can clear up the turbid little by little through stillness as they did? Who can create stillness lit?
And sitting and thinking of this, like the side issue actually. That's why these things are so fucking expensive. Because from a production perspective, it's a fucking nightmare. That's what NASA's for.
NASA's mainly there for science and research. They're pretty much a big ass R&D department with their own launch system.
The forensics cleaner.
I know the forensic cleaners though. Like,
then sitting and thinking of this, like the side issue actually. That's
For my cousin, the prince tells me he has been troops to them. And every time nobody begging for help.
advances! To which town? To here, my lord! The food and provisions inside. Double the wall guards, seal the gate. Now!
Sir, you can get me out if you leave now.
I'm not about to tell my uncle I'm lost in the greatest city in northern England.
For my cousin, the prince tells me he has been troops to them. And every time nobody begging for help.
Advances! To which town? To here, my lord! The food and provisions inside. Double the wall guards, seal the gate. Now!
Sir, you can get me out if you leave now.
I'm not about to tell my uncle I'm lost in the greatest city in northern England.
For my cousin, the prince tells me he has been troops to them. And every time nobody begging for help.
Advances! To which town? To here, my lord! The food and provisions inside. Double the wall guards, seal the gate. Now!
Sir, you can get me out if you leave now.
I'm not about to tell my uncle I'm lost in the greatest city in northern England.
Setting up like a research for different forms of knowledge to really open the eyes of how all these things work. And I believe that to absolutely be an art. So if we're talking in just all fields, not just visual art,
whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever knows how to practice restraint does not get into danger and thus can last forever. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses.
When someone asks you what you do for a living, they're really calculating how much respect they should give you. And when someone asks you where you live, they're probing to see whether you're wealthy or not. During a meal with more than 3 people, never speak private matters. During a meal with more than 5 people, never speak business. And never discuss your past with close friends, because close friends also have other close friends, people who speak.
You kind of lost me there with basically lying.
But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame.
Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, It just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes,
I filmed the fight.
no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't enough for some people. Sometimes, no matter how nice you are, how kind you are, how caring you are, how loving you are, it just isn't.
All things of darkness at the back and strive towards the light, and the flowing power gives them harmony. What Man hate his forlornness, loneliness being a trifle, and yet princes and kings choose these to describe themselves. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be stealthy, the true essence appears to be changeable, the great quadrant has no corners, the great instrument is completed late, the great tone. Broad life appears to be insufficient, the strong life appears to be...
This is some bullshit over here. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is Jefferson Park. See, they're still going at it. This is some bullshit over here.
Broad life appears to be insufficient. The strong life appears to be stealthy. The true essence appears to be changeable. The great quadrant has no corners. The great instrument is completed late. The great tone. Broad life appears to be. All things of darkness at their back and strive towards the light, and the flowing power gives them harmony. What men hate is forlornness, loneliness being a trifle, and yet princes and kings choose these to describe themselves. All things of darkness at their back and strive towards the light, and the flowing power. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty phrase. All true completeness is summed up in it. Use words sparingly, and all things will fall into place. A whirlwind does not last a whole morning. What the ancients said, that which is half shall become full, is truly not an empty.
If anybody actually does want to come, you can definitely meet me in Dallas or something and drive down with me.
Videos that are like 10, 13 years old that everybody's forgotten about, that do the visual bullshit on them, and then pass them off as your own. That's the state of YouTube for you. So I kind of forgotten not to become this way. It's a piece of shit. Like, I want to get sent on something and it goes places, sure. And I don't have to like go through all the hashtag this,
I am so serious about this. I wouldn't like just joke. As an illegal immigrant, and
like, don't eat this game is so handsy. Calm down, brother, calm down. See, I know it was gonna be an old boy started, man.
So they got the cops over there. They got no fucking clue what's happening. Meanwhile, these three girls have been going at it like you can't believe. They're barefoot. This is Jefferson Park in the afternoon, and they're walking away from the cops because they know they're up to no good. They're getting away from the popo. So there they go, because they're like, oh, we don't want to fuck with the police. So this is Jefferson Park on Central and Higgins. Pretty sure the cops just saw that. This is some bullshit over here. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is Jefferson Park. See, they're still going at it. So they got the cops over there. They got no fucking clue what's happening. Meanwhile, these three girls have been going at it like you can't believe. They're barefoot. This is Jefferson Park in the afternoon, and they're walking away from the cops because they know they're up to no good. They're getting away from the popo. So there they go, because they're like, oh, we don't want to fuck with the police. So this is Jefferson Park on Central and Higgins. Pretty sure the cops just saw that. This is some bullshit over here. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is Jefferson Park. See, they're still going at it. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is some bullshit over here. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is Jefferson Park. See, they're still going at it. So they got the cops over there. They got no fucking clue what's happening. Meanwhile, these three girls have been going at it like you can't believe. They're barefoot. This is Jefferson Park in the afternoon, and they're walking away from the cops because they know they're up to no good. They're getting away from the popo. So there they go, because they're like, oh, we don't want to fuck with the police. So this. I got no fucking clue.
Put this in reverse.
Eternia, a land of beauty and power. Wait. 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 Eternia, a land of beauty and...
I seriously cannot believe that you guys don't think that I'm gonna come.
But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things inevitably loses the important things. Whosoever is self-sufficient does not come to shame. Whosoever... But then great completion must appear as if inadequate, thus it becomes infinite in its effect. Great abundance must appear as if flowing, thus it becomes inexhaustible in its effect. Great straightness must appear. One you. Becomes inexhaustible. Great completion must appear as if inadequate, thus it becomes infinite its effect. Great abundance must appear as it is flowing, thus it becomes inexhaustible in its effect. Great straightness must appear as if crooked. Great talent must appear as if foolish. Movement overcomes cold, stillness overcomes heat, purity and stillness are the world's measuring gauge. When Tao rules on earth, one uses the racehorses to pull dung carts. When Tao has been lost on earth, warehouses, war horses are raised on the green fields. There is no greater sin than many desires. There is no greater evil than not to know sufficiency. There is no greater defect than wanting to possess. Therefore, the sufficiency of sufficiency is lasting sufficiency.
Without going outdoors, one knows the world. Without looking out of the window, one sees the Tao of heaven. The further one goes, the lesser one's knowledge becomes. Therefore, the man of calling does not need to go, and yet he knows everything. He does not need to see, and yet is he clear. He does not need to do anything, and yet he completes. Whosoever practices learning increases daily. Whosoever practices Tao decreases daily. He decreases and decreases until at last he arrives at non-action. In non-action, nothing remains not done. The realm can only be attained if one remains free of busyness. The busy are not fit to attain the realm. The man of calling has no heart of his own. He makes the people's heart his own heart. To the good I am good, to the non-good I am also good, for life is goodness. To the faithful I am faithful, to the unfaithful I am also faithful, for life is faithfulness. The man of calling lives very quietly in the world. People look for him and listen out for him with surprise, and the man of calling accepts them all as his children. Going out is life, going in is death. 3 out of 10 are companions of life. 3 out of 10 are companions of death. 3 out of 10 are men who live and thereby move towards the place of death. What is the reason for this? Because they want to create an increase of their lives. I have heard that whosoever knows how to live life well wanders through the land and meets neither rhino nor tiger. Movement of whosoever a man. And basically they get. We got it, Vivek. What up, Tivy? Movement overcomes cold, stillness overcomes heat, purity and stillness are the world's measuring gauge. When Tao rules on earth, one uses the racehorses to pull down carts. When Tao But then whosoever hankers after other things inevitably uses up the great things. Whosoever amasses things.
movement overcomes cold, stillness overcomes heat, purity and stillness are the world's measuring gauge. When Tao rules on earth, one uses the racehorses to pull dung carts. When Tao has been lost on earth, warehouses, war horses are raised on the green fields. There is no greater sin than many desires. There is no greater evil than not to know sufficiency. There is no greater defect than wanting to possess. Therefore, the sufficiency of sufficiency is lasting sufficiency. Without going outdoors, one knows the world. Without looking out of the window, one sees the Tao of heaven. The further one goes, the lesser one's knowledge becomes. Therefore, the man of calling does not need to go, and yet he knows everything. He does not need to see, and yet is he clear. He does not need to do anything, and yet he completes. Whosoever practices learning increases.
Then I had but lived with him on other planes, and though others had told me much that might have disheartened me, yet but I must hark back again. Before that last December, in fact, he seemed very wonderful, even though perhaps I felt that I might find my path led to a place where I must meet him in terrible conflict.
It's like even more, because like part of the reason of why DeepSeek was able to ship.
So for some really strange.
Bullshit.
Mike, this is Jefferson Park. See, they're still going at it. This is
He walks through an army and avoids neither armor nor weapons. The rhino finds nothing to sink its horn in. Tiger finds nothing to sink its claws into. The weapon finds nothing to receive its sharpness. Why is this so? Because he has no mortal spark. Tao generates, life nourishes, environment shapes, influence is complete. Therefore all beings honor Tao and cherish life. Tao is honored, life is cherished, without being outwardly appointed just for themselves. Therefore Tao generates, life nourishes, makes, grows, cares, completes, keeps, covers, protects. The world has a beginning. That is the mother of the world. Whosoever finds the mother in order to know the sons, whosoever knows the sons and returns to the mother, he will not be endangered all his life long. Whosoever closes his mouth and shuts his gates, he will not be troubled all his life long. Whosoever opens his mouth and wants to set his affairs in order, he cannot be helped all his life long. To see the smallest means to be clear. To guard wisdom means to be strong. If one uses one's light in order to return to this clarity, one does not endanger one's person. This is called the whole of eternity. If I really know what it means to live in the great Tao, then it is above all busyness that I fear. Where the great streets are beautiful and smooth, but the people prefer the side roads. Where the rules of courts are strict, but the fields are full of weeds. Where the barns are quite empty, but garments are beautiful and glamorous. Where everyone girds himself with a sharp sword.
where eating and drinking habits are refined, all good and goods are abundant, their rules confusion, not government. What is well planted will not be torn up. What is well kept will not escape. Whosoever leaves his memory to his sons and grandsons will not fade away. We have the king of Ishkanda. Mackindall, the new Mackindall. McKindle. The ugliest white guy, tranny girl you've ever never hoped to have to work with. Welcome, McCandle.
Yo, was that Asian chick you were fucking, was she a prostitute?
Which one?
You said which one?
Oh,
shit.
on YouTube?
Yeah,
No, she was Hispanic.
no doubt. No doubt.
I could see she looked maybe looked a little Asian. I don't know. But
Yeah, she was probably Puerto Rican. Those Puerto Ricans, they come in a variety.
shapeshifters mostly.
I don't know about shape-shifting, but being racially ambiguous, I would say Puerto Ricans definitely fit into that category.
There was a hot girl fight outside my apartment here in Chicago just now. I put it on YouTube.
Oh, really? Can
Yeah.
I check it out?
Yeah, let's see if it published it yet. And it's still uploading it. I don't know what the fight was about, but it seemed like they wanted to kill this bitch.
When I was younger, two chicks were always more interesting than two dudes fighting, but now that I'm older, I have no interest in seeing that, generally. Unless it's in a digital format.
You know, like, even if you wanted to intercede and say, you know, stop the fight, and see, some people think you can like try to protect somebody, but the truth is when two people are fighting and they're drunk, you have absolutely no idea who's at fault. They're both at fault. It's like, so what are you gonna do? You can't stop. You can't stop it. It's like you gotta just film it, put it on YouTube.
That's an option. That's an option. I don't know. I tend not to get involved in others' affairs because, you know, if they ever make peace, you'll be the odd man. You'll be the odd one out.
One time we were at the movie theater one time, and these two guys were fighting, and my dad like grabbed one of the guys and put him in a headlock and started screaming at you, "I'll drag you to the fucking police station and put you in the fucking lockup right now. Knock it off." And I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "Why?" You know. And in hindsight, I'm like, "Why did you even waste your time? You know, you should have just let him fight."
I felt that. But we do have somewhat of an obligation to others. If the fight isn't looking too fair, if there's like something unbalanced about the dynamic, you might want to get involved. Shame is an effective vehicle for getting people to change their conduct. And sometimes you can shame an aggressor who may be even more aggressive than you into, you know, changing how they're behaving towards somebody. Or I would want someone to do it for me if I'm in a situation.
Yeah. Somebody saved my life, probably. I got into a fight. These guys robbed me, 5 guys, and then somebody that I was being polite to at the bar, I think that was the guy that like got on top of me and got in a fighting pose. And then I had enough time to get up and run. But I'm pretty sure it was the guy in the bar that, you know, was like, "Good evening, sir. Are you enjoying the music?" And he's like, "Yes, it's wonderful." And then I went outside to smoke a joint. And that was the only time I've ever been punched in the face was this black kid. They were going through my bag, and I was like, "What are you guys doing? It's fucking books." And I was like, "Fuck, I gotta leave." So I leave, and he's like, "Sir, you dropped something." Pow! And then it was on. Then I heard, "Let's get him!" And then fucking four vatos got off the picnic bench and
I kicked one of them in the face real good. He's like, "Why did you kick me in the face?" And I'm like,
A black kid with a bunch of Mexicans.
"Yeah, it was like West Side Story or some shit."
Wow. That's crazy. Word.
'Cause, you know,
luckily you came out of that okay though. You know?
I spent the night in the ER. I mean, they got me good. But you know, no, no broken bones. So it's like, you know,
just cuts and bruises.
Yeah, fucking 2 black guys, busted nose, but nothing broke, you know. So it just took me like a month to like look normal again. But yeah, I went to my first day of classes with like 2 black eyes and blood on my hat.
Ay, ay, ay.
Nobody even said anything. Like, whoa, what happened?
How come you didn't become racist and just start hating blacks and Mexicans?
Because it was my own fault. I should never even have been talking to them. You know, there was just no reason to even be talking to these people. So I learned my lesson. You know, what did I think I was trying to make fucking friends? You know, see, that's how happy I was. You know, just being in the moment, thinking everybody's, you know, Mr. Nice Guy, but not everybody likes the happy person. Some people want to fucking kill that happy person.
That's true. That's very true. Some people just want to beat the shit out of you for being joyful.
Yeah.
Because misery loves company.
Yep. That's what I discovered that day. And you know, the fact that they didn't kill me, they taught me a valuable survival lesson. Because not only am I not going to not come up to you and talk to you, if you talk to me, I'm going to be very polite, but I am not going to reciprocate communication, you know? Like, and that goes for pretty much everybody. I don't care, especially if you're at a bar or a nightclub. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not at a bar or a nightclub to make friends with any fucking man. I am there to talk to women, and that is all I am there to do. And so, you know, that was my life lesson. Don't talk to fucking anybody. Like, you know, I was by myself as well. So I think the fact that I even talked to the guy who like saved my life was like me knowing I was by myself and I was trying to be, you know, have a battle buddy or something.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I think jail would teach you a lot. Not that you should go, but you pay the heaviest price for the smallest things in there because the value of everything has just increased 100-fold.
Yeah.
Because everything is just scarce. So, you know,
it's compression. It's hyper compression. Everything is compressed, you know, time, all assets, all material, all relationships, all communication. It's like it's like society, but, you know, hyper compressed. It's a hyper society basically, because everything is in close proximity and highly controlled. It's basically the way that you, in many ways, maybe you would want society to run. Like the way that prisons run should be the way that we run society. And the way that we run prisons are the way that we should run society. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, I know it's not the way it is.
The way that we run society should be the way that we run prisons type shit.
Yeah. Because, I mean, all the homeless people, you know, like if you can't support yourself and you're dying in the streets, if we were a moral society, we would send that person to basically a prison camp to improve their health, to control their health, to reprogram them or force them into labor, you know, and give them minimal food. I mean, just, you know, the right amount to live, but nothing more. I mean, if you failed, it's like Hunger Games, you know, or it's like Hunger Games recycling. I don't know. Like, there's no answers. Personal responsibility is the answer. But when collective society decides to enforce rules and regulations and compliance, because like we are operating on a system of compliance. And so people who are in non-compliance, you can't necessarily bring them back into a state of compliance unless you control their environment and you take away their rights to not comply. So I don't know, prisons, you know, it's like a prison allows you to automate controlling people by the thousands.
Yeah, it really does.
It's full.
That
It's
was
full
what I was
automation.
saying, that last part.
It's full automation at scale, but it's just not natural. You know, concrete walls, steel. It's all just not natural. So you want to prevent people from having to go to the unnatural state of automation because they're able to self-automate.
Yeah, like I got into this one fight with a dude over jelly and sugar. Okay, this individual, he used to get like a bunch of snacks, and you know, he was a big fan of snacks. I think he was an addict on the outside, and they tend to like sugar as a substitute when they get inside. I'm a fan of sugar myself, though. If you consider marijuana an addiction, then maybe that's what was influencing my drive for sugar. In any case, though, we make a deal. He gives me X amount of jelly in the morning, and I'll give him X amount of snacks at the start of the week. And no more. No less, but no more. So, first couple of days it goes okay. He eats all of his snacks up that I gave him. Next thing you know, he's not trying to honor his end of the agreement. I noticed it the first day, I let it slide. I noticed it the second day. I'm curious, even more curious now, because he's made a mistake twice. Third day comes by, and I'm having to confront him. So, upon me confronting him, he was trying to see if he could secure some more snacks first before he pulled the stunny pull. I told him I wasn't running a non-profit organization. Essentially, I can't give snacks out for free. You know, you gotta pay a price if you want something in here. Essentially, he wasn't trying to hear that. And next thing I know, he just starts disrespecting me.
Things are either increased through diminution or diminished through increase. I to teach what others teach. The strong do not die a natural death.
Our business is in the public sphere. We're discussing something that I thought was going to be managed properly.
Stillness overcomes heat.
Clearly it's not. And yeah, he basically just told me I'm not that we agreed to, and fuck you. That was the moral of his story. Just fuck you. So you know, if we were on the outside, it'd have been whatever. Who the fuck is gonna fight for jelly? Are you dumb? But we're on the inside, and this jelly really matters. Okay, like this is food. Food is currency. The last meal you eat is at 4 o'clock. Who eats their last meal in real life at 4 p.m.? Come on. It's like, no. All right. So, yeah. I ended up punching him in his jaw as hard as I could when he made a trip to the bathroom. Didn't warn him. Didn't say anything to him. I just waited for him in the sink.
But then whosoever hastens after other things inevitably is.
Just punched him as hard as I could in his jaw. I had one hand at the time.
Yeah. It's always amazing when you see somebody punch somebody in the face as hard as they can, because it happens instantaneously. And when you're witnessing it, you're like, holy fuck. Like, because it, like, you didn't see the anger and the conflict boiling and festering until all of a sudden the person launches the fist attack, and you're just, as the witness, you're like, holy fuck. Like, damn.
Yeah, it gets brutal. It gets brutal.
Okay, my video uploaded. I don't know if it's on that account, but I posted it. There's this app called Nextdoor as well, and it's like a bunch of fucking Democrats on this app at scale. And so you can't talk about politics, but like if you post a fight, you know, people are just like, everybody's angry about everything, but it's just fun to be at the center of attention, causing anger and not having repercussions.
What's your YouTube account?
I think it's on the link above. in the room. That's this one on this phone, but the one that I just uploaded to is called Subscribe Now I, EYE. Yeah.
This is some bullshit over here. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is Jefferson Park.
Subscribe Now I. Are you out of the hospital yet?
Yeah, I'm out of the hospital. What you call it? You hear me?
Yeah.
I'm out of the hospital. They did some procedure on me. I feel better now. I don't know if I'm gonna end up back in there anytime soon.
This is some bullshit over here. These three girls over there were just in a fight. This is your.
You don't know if you're going to end up back up in the hospital? Sorry, what was that?
Nah, you good. You good.
You said you might end up back in the hospital?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna end up back in there because they got me taking this medication, and I don't know, like the way my situation is looking, it's like I be having to spend money on outside food. I need a woman to cook for me. I could cook for myself, but
I need a woman to cook for me? What you need is more money so you can have delicious, wonderful meals any night of the week you want it. You don't need a woman. You need more money. Trust me. The first thing is, did you ever see the movie Scarface where he's like, in America, the first thing you need is the money. And then you'll get the power. And then you'll get the woman. Like, it doesn't flow woman to food to money. I'm telling you, you could make money on YouTube maybe quickly, but you've got to get a burner phone for $50. Start creating these shorts. I'm doing it right now. I mean, I can demonstrate to you how I'm hypnotizing people, and my videos are getting views, a lot of views. If you were to do what I'm doing right now, just use the script that I'm using, you would achieve great success with it. Especially if you're, a young black man, because Google YouTube is still an affirmative action publishing platform, so you'll get those DEI bonus points.
I'm trying to take the what you call that? I'm trying to take the easy route and just get a regular job.
Well, even if you get a job, you still like internet communication, so you should do what I'm doing. You got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Listen, that just feels like, I'll be honest with you, it just feels, and this is no way to insult your hustle, but it be feeling like a waste of my time when I'm on this app. It's just like, what am I listening to? I don't have to listen though, when I get to thinking about it, but I don't know. I guess I don't know how to do what you do, but I guess I would be actively monitoring every conversation that takes place that interests me on this internet.
Well, you would just, if you wanted to do what I'm doing, like, hopefully I'll get other people to do it at the same time, but everybody just reads for 15 seconds and that's it. And we just keep rotating. And during that 15-second rotation, you're creating content on YouTube. You can do about 10 a day, which is, only 150 seconds of your life. But what you're doing is reprogramming yourself using the Tao Te Ching, the Tao, which is the Chinese philosophy for God. It's very short and simple to do.
Yeah, you a deep dude, man. The Tao Te Ching, all that shit. I don't know about all that.
It's reprogramming. It's neurolinguistic programming. It's called a book.
I'm mad at Asians too. I'm not really feeling the Asian community right now.
You're mad at Asians. You're mad at yourself.
Maybe let's explore why though, and you tell me if I'm mad at myself then.
If you're angry with Asians, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Mexicans, Venezuelans, you're angry with yourself. You have to accept total personal responsibility for whatever situation you're in. Thus, if you hate someone else, you hate yourself or the situation that you find yourself in.
Yeah, I found myself in a situation where there's several Asian businesses I know. You Jews are guilty of it too. But there's several Asian businesses that I know that are hiring. Okay? And long story short, they haven't decided to hire me. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you guys doing? You think you're that good? You got a fucking D rating when it comes to how cleanly you are as an establishment. You got basically a D rating, okay? Like, B is the new D, like, or sometimes even a C. Like, your shit is whack. Your shit is dirty. I can elevate your establishment, and you sitting here with the nerve to like look at me sideways when I ask for employment. The audacity on these people. All right, I built this country. I fucking built this country.
Yeah, but when you want to work for somebody, you have to reverse engineer their psychology and know that they don't give a fuck about any of that shit. They want you to be the best robot that they can possibly hire. They don't want to know anything about what you think about or what you believe about. They want you to.
I don't want them to know what I think about. You don't even need to get that personal. I just need them to say, yup, you're hired, and guess what? I work. It's very simple. It's very simple. My ancestors used to.
I know, but why do you say they're looking at you sideways? They're not looking at you sideways. Like you are projecting, or you are mind reading your way out of the job.
No, bro. I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence. It's all Vietnamese motherfuckers. It's all Vietnamese.
Well, the thing is, it's a puzzle, and you have no choice but to keep trying to arrange puzzle pieces. Talking about it takes you further away from rearranging the puzzle pieces. That's just the truth. I mean, you just said this app is a waste of time. Like, you're wasting your time because you're not trying to rearrange your puzzle pieces. I know you're doing it by talking about it, but you're not really doing it. You're just talking.
No, I've been what you call it, rearranging my puzzle pieces since this morning. I'm taking a break, just a small break. If I show you the amount of fucking job applications I filled out, it don't make no sense.
Welcome to hell. Finding a job is like the same thing from the book in the Bible. Like Job dealt with hell, aka the job. Difficult to obtain, easy to lose, and horribly obnoxious to maintain. You know, it is a grind. It's a grind to find a job. It is a grind to work at a job. It is a grind to lose a job. It is a grind to find a job. It is a grind to work that fucking job. And it is a grind to lose that fucking job. Like, you know.
And job-related grind. Oh, okay.
Welcome, like I said, welcome to hell. You never been to hell yet? Well, now you in hell. Finding a job is like being in hell. It's not even like being in purgatory. Having the job is like purgatory. And then finding the job is definitely like hell.
I'm counting your pockets. What you do, bro?
What do you mean? I get paid by the government to talk to people like you.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
This is a job. I applied for this job. I mean, you are my customer. I'm here to service your complaints, help readjust your attitude into positivity. This is the new type of job. Maybe you could work here. You want to help make people positive optimists?
For how much?
Well, the positive optimist complaint line only pays $15 an hour. We're a nonprofit. We're a positive optimist nonprofit organization helping rectify people's negative attitudes and negative self-speech. We're reverse hypnotists, self-actualization comedians, and it pays $15 an hour. But tomorrow, never today.
All right, I'll make 15 an hour tomorrow. What time do I start?
Free beer tomorrow, 8 a.m.
All right, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
I'll start at 8. Okay. I'm not sure if I have any guarantees here.
There's no guarantees, just positive optimism.
All right, and what's the average shift like? How many hours am I getting a week?
40 hours a week.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's all on Clubhouse. Remote work from home. You just need a burner phone, which we'll send you for free.
Yeah, what you call it? I got you. It's more money than I'm making now, right? My bank account is depleting slowly. Speaking of which, I think I'm gonna order some Chinese food. Yo, Adrian.
Yeah.
From the Chinese restaurant, man.
What?
Broccoli with white rice. Should I get broccoli with white rice? Or should I get chicken wings and french fries?
Oh, chicken wings and french fries for sure.
Chicken wings and french fries. All right. See?
If you can get broccoli too, get the broccoli. Skip the rice.
Alright, I'm gonna see what's up right now. Hopefully I'll find you when I come back.
Okay, sounds good.
Tailwinds, especially in the government business. They're the type of company that could just randomly post like an enormous explosion of growth in the government business or the commercial business and catch the street.
This is bullshit over here. These 3 girls over there were just in a fight. This is just... Park. See, they're still going at it. So they got the cops over there. They got nothing.
We are getting on.
Clue what's happening.
So for some really strange